Hi, Steve Casey, seller of stuff. But today's video isn't going to be about reselling and such, so fair warning on that. Also, there's going to be adult content, there's going to be profanity, and there's going to be my opinion. So if you're not into that, um, don't comment, don't watch it. See you later. That's about that. Okay, we're doing the fourth edition of Story Time with Steve. Stuff that has actually happened to me and how I evolved and came about things. This is the fourth one, I believe it is. Anyway, there's the fork in the road. I made some choices and I'm not proud of this, okay? I've made some pretty lousy ones. And eventually I started making better ones and then finally really good ones. So that's what this is all about. The choices that you have and doing the right thing or the not so right thing. When I was 24 years old in the mid 70's, my dad came to me and said, "Get a real job, man. You've been a lifeguard, you're a hippie, you're out of drugs, but you got to go out there and make some money and get, be a real earner and have responsibilities and such." So I took that to heart. I got out of the hotel business and knocked it around, and I wound up going to Atlanta. And when I got to Atlanta, I found out that Playboy had called this apartment complex, a huge apartment complex, the ground zero for the sexual revolution. And I go, I have big appetites for living, so this is my kind of place. They had a raft race once a year down the river, and hundreds of thousands of people showed up. And there's a photograph that just happens to catch where I lived, exactly where I lived, in the background where the little red arrow is. 3 bedrooms, sunken living room, all the amenities, all that tacky shit that was going on in the 70's. The first girl that I ever met in Atlanta was the first night I was there, and at the time she worked at a Holiday Inn. But as we evolved, that's where she wound up working, and she started making money like crazy, and we moved in together and we had lots of fun. We were hedonistic, selfish, greedy, and fun-loving. Those are not the real people, but those were our neighbors. 2 big apartments on top of the building. Myself and my girlfriend, and our neighbors across the street were 4 what they used to call stews back then. And they would come home and get crazy immediately. Riverbend Complex was known for bands on Saturday, free beer by the pool, and after dark, 7 or 8 whirlpools where you could do anything you wanted and nobody would really complain about it. I got a job working for 2 guys that looked very similar to this. And these 2 guys paid me a lot of money in the pool business. And all I had to do was drive around and solicit pool builders to buy their stuff. And they were very tough guys, and edgy, but I never saw that part of it. All I saw was the free car, the free credit cards. There's your territory, go make some money, and it was huge money. I was selling truckloads of swimming pool parts. It was crazy. It was nuts. And I'd go to pool builders and they'd give me truckload orders. It was outstanding. That was the company car I got, or one just like it. It was even gold in color. The tough guys that I worked for, their logic was you pull up in that, it puts you apart from all my competitors who drive around the company Fords and Chevys and everything. Plus, I gotta admit, it was a great road car, and I spent 200 days a year on the road, so that was fun. That was my territory, from Denver to Boston to Miami. All I had to do was get people to buy my stuff, and I drove and made 6 and 7 in-person calls a day, plus a bunch of phone calls. That was my home away from home. That's where I stayed, and they had a platinum gold, who knows what club, and man, I knew every Holiday Inn from Denver over, because I stayed in them all. I had 3 boxes, one of them full of Holiday Inns, where to stay, where to eat, one of them full of customers, and the third one was who to call up for some company when you got to those places. That's my job right there. 3 martini lunch. You get the pool builder, you take them away from their business, you slam a bunch of drinks down their throat at lunchtime, and you do business. 2 and 3 hour lunches. It was outstanding. And then every night, because I was dealing with guys all day, you'd hit places like TGI Fridays, and you'd go in and you'd meet the women. And the Holiday Inn Fern bars were the thing at the time, so that's where I carouse. And then, after a while, it was the need for alcohol more than the need for business or company or hanging out. And after a while, it was, okay, I can't find my keys, I can't find my car, I forgot which hotel room I'm in, and so on and so on. You could probably see where this is going. And to get up in the morning and just actually get through it instead of looking forward to making lots of money and meeting lots of new people, it was drinking. Morning, noon, night. If I was awake, I was drinking. I needed this in the morning just to get going. I needed it at lunch just to keep it going. I needed it at nighttime to knock me out. And it wasn't just a big, large appetite for life. It was an addiction, and I knew it was coming when the time came. So, actually, the next step was 4 or 5 years later. I'm a stone cold alcoholic. Friday the 13th in April of 1979 was the magic date that wrecked the car, wrecked the company car, wrecked the career, wrecked the relationship. Everything just kind of hit the wall right then, as they say. But I wasn't quite at my lowest, hadn't quite got there yet. So I kept on drinking. Then I woke up after a 3-week blackout in a motel room real similar to this. I couldn't believe I found this picture the way I remember it. And there it was. 2 suitcases. 3 guys pounding on the door. One of them the manager, one of them a cop, and one of them a service station technician. Throwing me out. I grabbed the 2 suitcases. I thought I only had one. And before I started this 3-week binge, I remember I had $800. I opened up the second suitcase, which I didn't recognize, and in it was several $1,000s in cash, among other things. And I have no idea how that got there. Time for change. I knew it. Couldn't stop drinking. Couldn't couldn't change, couldn't go on like that anymore. All the problems in the world. How am I going to get out of this? How am I going to do that? How am I going to tuck my way out of this? That was it. That was the day. Motel room was in Mississippi. I drove to Florida. Checked into a state-run rehab facility. Spent 6 weeks there. Went 24/7, nothing but talking about alcohol and why we did what we did. That was the day I sobered up. Got out of the treatment center. If you'll remember the movie Scarface, they had a detaining camp underneath an overpass that they rided in. Well, the halfway house that I went to was 2 blocks from there, and we heard and saw the whole thing. It was a scary time. Plus, I was trying to get sober. Excuse me. Got back to Atlanta. Walked into this place. It's a Catholic church. Had an AA meeting. Found a great sponsor. Did everything they told me to do. Buy the book. Believed everything they said. And learned how to stay sober. So, guess what happened? 13,628 days later, I've been clean and sober for 37 years. My best accomplishment of everything that I've ever done was, staying sober. I've helped dozens of people get sober. That's what I'm most proud of. And in turn, I know several of those dozens of people have helped others who have helped others and so forth. And that makes me go around. That's that mentoring part of it, that giving back. I'm no longer selfish. I like to give. I like to see people evolve. I like to see people get better. I am still aggressive. I still have a large appetite, but my appetites now go towards stuff about reselling and gathering new knowledge. So that's my deal for today, and I have no idea why I did this one, but I did. So next time, stay tuned. We'll talk about reselling again. See ya.